Hey guys, I sometimes like browsing my blank journal collection, which sounds kind of weird to say out loud, but here they are. And I wanted to show you the top 5 blank journals I'm looking forward to using. So the first one is this one. I really can't wait to use this one. I got this up for my birthday recently. I'd been wanting this forever, for really probably 20 years. This is from the 90s. It's a vintage Lisa Frank Diary. It's pretty narrow, but it matches check out my awesome rainbow roses. I've been wanting some of these for over a decade. And I finally have one, and these two things together are just perfection. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that journal, and then I'm going to add another Lisa Frank in is another one I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to leave the lock on there, it's kind of like in the way, but yeah. I have a pencil case to match this one from when I was a kid. Well, I couldn't find that one, but I got another one just like it, so nostalgia. And then this one, this is a journal. This is not a VHS tape. It's smaller than a VHS tape, but check it out. I could not resist this one. I got this home for my birthday too. I got a few more journals recently, and I wasn't really planning to, but I just couldn't resist. My childhood friend had a Lion King birthday party, and yeah, I had a t-shirt and everything to match. It was, yeah. And this is also a journal. This one, I'm going to add an elastic. There's no elastic to it, and the paper's kind of just a little bit wide and kind of average, but it's a Game Boy, and it's even got the little things that move up and down. But yeah, I'll link where I got this in the Lion King one below, because I had a few questions on Instagram for it. And then this one, I'm looking forward to using. This one I was actually thinking about using in place of my current one. Like, this one was a contender before I chose to use the rose gold one that I'm actually using now. I'm almost done. I have like 14 pages left in that one, and then I'll use that black Piccadilly Primo journal. But this one is holographic, and it's just magical looking. But yeah, those are it's at 5. Okay, yeah, those are my top 5. There's a few others I'm pretty excited about using at some point. This one is really ornate. And some of these kind of super themed ones, I kind of have to be in the mood to use. Like, I don't know, if it was like a rough time, I might not want to use like neon Lisa Frank. And if it was, if I want to do collaging and paint and stuff, this one might not be a good match. So sometimes ones I'm looking forward to change depending on what I plan to do with that journal. If I want to paint or collage or whatever. Or if I want to use like fountain pen versus gel. But yeah, there's another few that I just want to show you anyway. The spotty dotty one. Yeah. 90s children. This one's really been tempting to use too. It's really heavy though. It's really thick. That's how we like it. But yeah, I've got a googly eye in it, and it's got vintage locks. In Tiny Town, I had a house that had old locks in the inside doors. It just kind of reminds me of that. And then this one I used, actually both of these, I used a bit as a young teen just for notes for this youth organization I was in, and there's maybe 10 pages of that in each of these, but I still carried them with me to that organization like twice a week or whatever, so these are still kind of nostalgic even though they're mostly blank. What else? The owl one in here is pretty tempting. Okay, I don't want to damage my roses, but I want to show you this owl one because that's another one I've been liking. And yeah, this shelf is really not the best setup for this, but this one, and it's got the weird crap on the edge of the pages. That's kind of one of the reasons I haven't used it yet. And it's a soft cover. This stuff kind of comes off and makes a mess on the floor, so that's fun. But the leather feels really nice. It smells nice, and the paper's good too, except the edges of the pages. But the actual paper is good. And yeah, sometimes I'll actually just sit here and kind of look through what I've got. I guess it's like with any kind of hobby. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to put this back in there with one hand. Some things are hard to do with one hand. But like any hobby, if you're into stamp collecting or something, you might sit there and kind of look through your stamps. If you're into journals, you might look at your supplies. I kind of do that every now and then. Especially since I've got some that are pretty old, like this one. Is it that one? Yeah. This one I've had since spring 2010. And I've been waiting for the right time to use this. Also, since, well, actually the elastic now is kind of loosened up a bit. I used one of these back then, and the elastic came off and I glue it back on, so I kind of didn't use another one just because that annoyed me enough. But it's really elegant looking, and I've got some notes, like a few about me pages from 2007 in here, so that'll be kind of fun to have a few notes from my past self. And every now and then, every few years, I'd add another like life update in here, so this one will be a neat one to use eventually. And then these two little things are from 2007 also. I really liked pocket moleskin, or this isn't moleskin, this is a paper blanks, but I really liked the pocket size journals for a number of years until probably fall 2013, and then I kind of got into using larger ones because since writing small stuff like this sort of started hurting my hand. But these are really pretty little notebooks. I'm going to use them at some point. Sometimes the size of journals just kind of makes them a contender or not. Got a vintage Milky Gear one. Okay, this one lights up. It's really bright. What else? I've got this Roommate Agreement Big Bang Theory one that I'm looking forward to. There's cassette tape. Sometimes I just like plain ones. Toy Story. Yeah, it kind of is some combination of like the design and what kind of, if I want to use a fountain pen versus gel in the journal. You really usually just use gel pens, but occasionally I feel like trying out something else. And if I plan a collage in it or not, and just kind of, if I plan to travel with it, like if I want to use this one when I'm kind of more settled, because this thing is really heavy and I don't really want to have to carry that around too much. This one's small enough that this will work for like a portable journal. Every summer I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go outside and ride in the park. And riding outside is really physically uncomfortable, but it just sounds like a quaint, charming idea. So I'm like, okay, in the summer or some spring I'm going to use a portable journal, and then end up not actually going outside to write because it's kind of bugs and hot and there's not really good outdoor furniture. This little journal is pastel moleskin. I'd been wanting them to make a pastel pink one for like forever. Ever since I tried moleskins in 2007. Okay. Yeah. It's a lot easier to browse through your journal collection with two hands. But anyway, I don't know. I just like looking at all the designs. This one I've had since I was a kid or a young teenager. It's a Mary Ingelbright one. I've never actually filled a journal that's got spiral on the sides, so that's what I'm kind of waiting to use. I thought about, you know how we used to make flip-flops? Well, I'm old, I did. Make flip-flops and you cut up fabric and tie it in strands like a pom-pom type thing on your flip-flop. I thought about doing that with like smaller pieces of fabric on the side of this. Because when you grab it like this, if it feels physically cold, that's kind of why I might use this one. But I wrote my name in there when I was a kid, so it's kind of at least a small piece of my past in there. This little thing is kind of tiny. Oh yeah, I was going to show you. Oh yeah, anyway, if you watch if you joined the haul video the other night, thanks for joining in. That video is a little, like the lighting in there wasn't good. But this is that journal that I was showing. Actually, I guess I could show you all of them. This one. These are the ones I found on clearance for 75% off at a Barnes & Noble across town, where I ate a birthday cake in the bathroom, like an ice cream cake, because it was starting to melt, and Lyft or Uber or something was surging, and I didn't want to pay that, and I wanted to stay across town to look at cheap journals. This was not on sale. This is a Peter Proper Press one. But these were clearance off, and about $3 or $4 each, which I was really excited about finding, and that's kind of why it's easy to end up with a lot of journals or any other hobby that you enjoy, just because if you find sales and you're like, oh, it's too good a deal to pass up, and then you buy a few. I'm kind of obsessed with these rainbow. I wanted for these for so many years, and they're starting to bloom, and they're just such happiness. I'm going to go broke. I'm going to have to buy myself these more than once a decade. But yeah, here is that journal. I've never used a magnetic one, and I haven't really been adding as much into my journals recently, so magnetic might be something I try at some point soon. Oh, there's a brown one that's a magnetic one that I've got. I think I bought that one last fall. That's kind of tempting, but I haven't tried magnetic ones yet. this little one is actually nostalgic enough. I'm kind of tempted to. I used a kind of purpley blue marble looking one last year that was for my teen years or my young childhood teen years, and it's kind of tempting to use another one. This one is I want to say, it's a markings one, C.R. Gibson markings one, and I've got, so as a kid, I would find random pen pals, sometimes just, my childhood friend and I, like, asked this random man that we met at an art gallery if he wanted to be our pen pal. He was kind of not quite elderly, but almost. So I've got his address in here. My family was like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't get murdered. I got some of their old pen pal addresses in here. I went to this youth convention once in, I think, 5th grade, or maybe 4th grade, and they had a little pen pal thing in there. Like, they had an entire booth where teenagers could sign up to be pen pals with each other. And yeah, back then they weren't like that worried about liabilities. I've got their addresses in here, and 2 of them I actually wrote for a few years each. I have a few notes from childhood friends. Oh yeah, this one I took to the Olympics as a kid. I went with this organization, this youth organization, and one of the people who was kind of affiliated with it showed up before we left for our trip and brought everyone a journal and was like, let us pick one out. But yeah, that one's it's kind of interesting to look back on old, like, childhood or teenage journals and see what brands they were and see what brands have been around a while. That's also I want to say it's a C.R. Gibson one, but I think they called it Williamsburg. Yeah, they did. Williamsburg by C.R. Gibson. That one's really old too. I have no idea what brand this is. That one's... Yeah, it doesn't say, but it had to have been Barnes & Noble because it's got that... Well, I guess it didn't have to be. It probably is because it's got this kind of paper, and my mother bought it for me, and she didn't order stuff online back then, so I'm guessing it was Barnes & Noble. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know if you like to look at your blank journals. It's just kind of a fun thing to do and enjoy what you have a little bit more even before you get to actually use it. And just the variety of so many different journals is pretty fun. It's easy to get hooked. And I'm going to leave you with this. I got you flowers. Yay! Alright. I know. Yeah, anyway. I'm weird. Have a good night. Bye.